Good evening, and welcome to a show with no name. I am Marlon Weems, and I'm here with my good buddy Arturo Dominguez, the publisher of Decolonized Journalism. And by the way, I'm the publisher of the Journeyman newsletter. I hope y'all are ready because this, I just told my man, this is going to be the Arturo Dominguez show because he is he is the guy in terms of investigative journalism as it relates to, immigration, what's going on south of the border, all of that. And as I was preparing for this show, I just one thing after another. And I just said, you know what? This this is going to be fun today. The United States is just doing all kind of crazy shit, and most of it has to do, at least today, most of it has to do with Venezuela, and a lot of the things that have been happening over the course of the last 6 months to a year are really, really starting to line up and make a little bit more sense. Not that we, and you know what, Arturo, I actually didn't have a chance to pull it all together, but I went back through some transcripts of shows that we did back in April and March. We were talking about all of the things that we're going to wrap up and tie it all together with a bow today. So why don't we kick things off and I'm just gonna shut up and let you run with it on the other side. I'll be here for tech
Well,
support.
we started talking about before we went live. We started talking about Venezuela and
Yes.
the U.S. having an ownership stake in their oil reserves and all that. And I just finished an article a couple hours ago about this massive disinformation network um, that's based in Miami but operates all over Latin America. And this disinformation network took it was played a big role in electing Javier Milei,
Hmm.
Antonio Cast in Chile, the Nazi guy, um, part
I'm
Nayib
laughing, y'all, but this
Bukele.
shit ain't funny. Just so you know,
No,
there is nothing funny about any of
yeah,
this.
no, and like, I mean, you're talking about president of Honduras, president of Bolivia, like this guy. Okay, so this network, it's all
Wait,
being
wait,
exposed
wait, wait,
because,
wait, wait. Before you get going, let's just throw the intro out there. Let everybody get a
oh yeah,
chance
let's
to
do that.
grab some
Let's do that
popcorn, get your seat,
because it's gonna get good.
grab a drink, do whatever you need to, or whatever. Doesn't have to be a drink. It can
Yeah,
be
it's gonna be
something else.
deep.
Whatever you do, and we will take this up on the other side. Time for a show with no name. Okay, so let me just kind of lay a little bit of groundwork here. Last night, I was telling Arturo before we jumped on. I love James Bond movies, and I get all the misogyny and the whatever, all the stuff, but it's
Right.
just good, clean fun, whatever. And I actually saw this film in the theater. I was still living in New York, and for whatever reason, I started off with Casino Royale because I like the Daniel Craig
Hmm.
stuff. He's like a real,
Yeah.
a believable kind of James Bond. He's, borderline like sociopath, just killing folks, whatever. Last night, I watched The Quantum of Solace. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but the upshot of it is this. Um, you got this group, Spectre, and MI5 don't even know they exist. And these guys, one, one of the guys is literally overturning governments in Latin America. They're infiltrating and basically, if the dictator who's in charge doesn't play ball with them, then they figure out how to undermine him, disinfo and all this kind of stuff. And the guys that the evil guy that is against Bond, all he wants out of it is land. He don't even want any money. And the reason he wants land is because he's trying to control the water in these countries. So he's building underground dams and doing all kind of shit. So essentially, he's taking, what should be a resource that belongs to whatever the respective country. As a matter of fact, I think it was Bolivia in the movie that was the the
Yeah, I think you're
fictional
right.
situation. And so then I get up today and I see this. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Here we go. So just think back, y'all. Back in January, we so worried about Venezuela because they're so bad and we got to control this guy. He's, what were they saying about Maduro? He's running drugs. He's doing
And
all this stuff.
dictator, yeah,
Oh,
all that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And lo and behold, there we are. Massive deal.
right,
We're going to take
right.
their oil. So I give you Arturo Dominguez, and I'm gonna just sit back and shut
Well,
up. Go. You got it, man.
that headline right there, that headline right there explains why so many people in Latin America do not want the United States in their country. They may
Mm-hmm.
hate their government, they may have issues with their government, but the last thing they want is us in there. So this disinformation network, right, that led to so many right-wing elections, um, it was exposed because one guy, one of the main operatives who ran bot farms and troll farms, tried to assassinate an ex-girlfriend of his who's a journalist who was about to receive some information that essentially would have proved that the charges they have against Evo Morales from Bolivia, right? They're charging him with, like,
Mm-hmm.
trying to charge him with statutory rape, human trafficking, things like
Wait,
this, right?
wait, wait. Our government is going after somebody for that?
No, no,
They didn't have to
no,
go
no, no,
all
no,
the way.
no.
Oh, okay,
No, it's
okay.
a Bolivian government is trying to come after him for that. Well, he's
Got it.
maintained his innocence. A lot of people are calling it lawfare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was apparently about to get some information that proved that all of it was a sham, that the charges against him are made up and all this stuff. Well, there's a video, and I didn't share the video because it's actually pretty graphic of her getting shot. She was
Oh,
shot
wow.
3 times, almost point blank range.
Okay.
And somehow
When did
she,
this
she
happen?
played dead. And so this happened 3 weeks ago,
Wow.
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Well, she survived. And from her hospital bed, fearing for her life, she did an interview with a local outlet, which has blown up and has been shared everywhere internationally. It's a 15-minute video. It's in at the very bottom of my latest article if you wanted to watch the whole thing. But
Okay.
she's fearing for her life, and she's like, "I'm going to spill the beans on everybody." And man, she tied Cermedo to Brad Parscale to a whole lot of people, right? She claimed he was a CIA operative. I haven't been able to verify that part, but his ties to the US government, the State Department, lawmakers, the White House are pretty extensive. And he
Mm-hmm.
worked with this guy, Danielle Merlot. He's a lobbyist, a registered foreign agent for Haiti, El Salvador, Argentina, a couple of countries down there. Merlot acts as a lobbyist for this Cermedo guy who's in jail, for Brad Parscale, who's also a foreign agent, right? Registered foreign agent for Israel. Um, Brad Parscale still has direct ties to the White House. Like, he built the White House
Wait,
website.
wait, wait. Can we just pause on
Sure,
Mr.
I
Brad
mean, we can. I
Parscale
mean,
just for just a
let's,
second?
yeah,
Just
yeah,
so
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
don't, if you don't remember this guy, this should have been the clue of, just the mediocrity of the people that surround Trump. When Trump first ran in, so would have been in 2015. I am convinced he wasn't serious. He wasn't really trying to win because he just had really maybe a half dozen people around him, and that was his team. And Brad Parscale was a guy, I want to say down in Texas or maybe Florida. They
Yeah, he's
hired
got
this
a lot of
guy.
business here. Yeah.
Yeah, they hired this guy to build the website for the campaign.
Hmm.
And now we're talking 5 years or 10 years later, however long it's been. And you're telling me this guy is like part of a what? Global disinfo network or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
He's a
Right.
website design guy. And then,
Right.
and and I reminded Arturo of this before we came on because whenever I hear his name, what I think about is how dude, like in September of 2020. So, right after or right in that, I guess, what do you call it, interregnum, or right before the 2020 election,
Hmm.
this guy lost his mind. And I'm going to post the video. I mean, it's not funny, but it is just unusual to have a guy that mentally unstable turn up where you're talking about. Now, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. So, Brad Parscale, I'm sure everybody remembers Cambridge Analytica, right? The whole deal
Mm-hmm.
with the 2016 election, Facebook data being used to swing the election, all that stuff. Well, they since Cambridge Analytica was outed, what they did was they took the base platform of Cambridge Analytica and they created something called Campaign Nucleus. And then there's another one called Eyes Over, I believe it is. And Campaign Nucleus is basically like an AI platform now. It does a lot of what Cambridge Analytica did, but you can also use it to build like an AI website. Like the White House website right now is built using that Campaign Nucleus thing. Um, Campaign Nucleus has received two contracts from the White House just in the last few months, by the way. It's unclear what exactly they're for. Uh, so he built those two platforms. This guy Cermetto, who tried to assassinate this girl and is sitting in jail, he was the sole licensee for Campaign Nucleus and Eyes Over in Latin America. He was using that to gather data on possible voters, prospective voters. It tracks information that's spreading on social media in real time. It's one of these platforms that doesn't wait for data, so you're looking at it after the fact. It tries to track it as it's happening. And the idea of it is so lawmakers, like I've seen Ted Cruz do this, and I'm pretty sure he uses Campaign Nucleus, but he can get out in front of stuff as it's blowing up. A lot of people, a lot of Republicans are using this thing. This guy, Sarah Meadow, had and for Javier Milei's election, for example, he used a 50,000 troll, account troll farm to help get Javier Milei elected. And they boost conservative influencers through this platform, and they actually have quite an impact. His Sarah Meadows, La Diaria Derecha, which is the right wing daily, um, was banned in Brazil because his outlet played a huge role in the attempted coup. His
Hmm.
outlet is actually, they used his outlet to convict Jair Bolsonaro and give him 27 years in prison. So his
Wow.
outlet's banned there. So since it's banned there, what they did was they partnered with other outlets like UHM Plus out of Miami, which is anti-Cuba propaganda, and then the guy who owns, I believe it's Azteca News in Mexico, Claudia Scheinbaum outed them for trying to meddle in that upcoming next election in Mexico.
Hmm.
Um, and they're trying to circumvent these bans in other countries by partnering with these different companies outside of Brazil, a US company, a Mexican company, and a lot of what they do, like for example, like UHM and a couple of other outlets, what they do is they route a lot of their propaganda through Amazon Web Services, like in Central Europe, for example, to bypass censorship in countries like Cuba. Like Cuba doesn't allow certain propaganda outlets from the US. They're like UHM Plus is one of them. And they'll route their stuff. I shared one in my notes one day highlighting how the Amazon Web Service addresses, they forgot to mask it. So when you click the link, it shows the Amazon Web Services address in Central Europe. And I'm like, oh, y'all screwed up. So I used that, highlighted the link, shared it with everybody. This is how they do it. This network, man, that is getting exposed. And man, I dug deep today going into the Foreign Agents Registry Act filings for a lot of these people. Um, and this Cerrameto guy, this Merlot guy, they had meetings with like Marco Rubio's chief of staff when he was still in the Senate. They've met with people in the State Department recently. They've met with Maria Elvira Salazar. They've met with Mario Diaz-Balart in Florida. Um, I mean, the ties to all these people and all the way to the White House, it's just so deep, and it's almost. I just got done writing it, so my head is still spinning from publishing it, and yeah, it's just bonkers how deep this goes, how much money's involved, and no matter. So you take this Cerrameto guy out, right? It's gonna up. It's like an upheaval for their little network, but the money's invested, right? The systems are built. They'll just
Okay.
put another guy in his place. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe exposing this might knock the wind out of them. Maybe it'll protect Brazil and Mexico from this election meddling. Maybe it won't. I don't. It's hard to tell what the impact it's going to have because it's so fresh. But
Wow.
um, I think exposing it, I think exposing it is going to be one of the biggest keys to trying to undermine this thing.
I mean, this is
I
wild. This is
dude,
sounds like literally some James Bond, kind of
it
shit. I
does.
mean, you talking
Right,
about
right.
a murder for hire, dude?
Yeah.
Wow.
Exposed all of this. Right,
And
right.
so,
And
by the
like I
way,
knew
folks,
about
I posted this in both our YouTube chat and Facebook as well as Substack. So get out there and and support. This is the kind of thing that you're just not going to get watching cable news. You know.
no.
So
And it's crazy.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of I saw Dropsite touch on this attempted assassination and how it exposed some things. I don't know that they went as deep as I did. I haven't seen any of their latest reporting on it. But aside from Dropsite and some other like socialist outlets here in the US, and Latin America is talking about this big time. Like it's in every country, in every Portuguese, French, like it's in all over Europe. The
Wow.
United States, not a damn thing. Like you're not hearing this on our corporate news. And the reason for that is because the same people who fund this kind of stuff are the same people who own our corporate news. So they're not going to out themselves. So accountability falls on us, right?
So how does Brad
And
Parscale play into this? What's his role?
well, his company developed the main platforms, right? The campaign nucleus and the eyes
Oh,
over thing,
wow.
and yeah, and it's all based off the Cambridge Analytica platform, and it's used to just spread
And
misinformation.
this is
Bots.
what I was talking about, dude. This is back
Right,
in 2020. I'll post
right.
the website, but this guy, and he's a big guy. Seems like he's like 6'6" or like a big old dude.
Yeah, he's a pretty
And
big
he
dude.
just had like a meltdown. And so now we find out that this is the character that's behind what you're talking about. That's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
That's crazy.
he's just one like this Merlot guy. And there's so many people, but this Merlot guy has like he's been around for a while. Um, there's Otto Reich, that Cuban American guy. He was an ambassador for Reagan. He was part of the Dirty Wars in with him and Elliot Abrams were part of the Dirty Wars in the 80s, Iran Contra, all that stuff. He's connected to all these people. Um, it's just insane how deep it goes and how far back it goes. Like we're talking about people who worked under Reagan, under Bush,
Wow.
who pushed all these far right policies in Latin America, overthrew governments. they are literally doing the same thing they did in the 80s and 90s right now. They didn't even wait for a generational shift or anything like that. They just decided to let's just do it again, and it's going to destabilize Latin America. The more we expose this stuff, I think the worse it's going to get for a lot of leaders in Latin America. Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz right now is in deep, deep, excuse my French, shit with Bolivians because, you know, that Nadia Beller girl that they tried to kill, she outed him big time about how a lot of these things like she knows people that informed the president about this stuff and he just dismissed it. Like he didn't
Mm,
care. And now she alleges that Cermedo, the guy who got arrested, is actually the person who runs Bolivia because he has control and influence over the police and the military. She's saying that basically Rodrigo Paz was bowing to him and whatever he wanted. And since he was in trouble, he's in trouble in Argentina with Malay because some stuff went sideways over there. Some Medicaid fraud stuff got exposed. I say Medicaid, it's whatever. Anyway, so he's basically hiding out in Bolivia, and essentially Rodrigo Paz is protecting him, is what it boils down to. And look, the some of the allegations that if you watch the 15-minute video, you read the captions because it's in Spanish, and you listen to what this lady says, you'll think some of it is just so outlandish. But the reason I put it at the end of my article and not at the beginning was so you can see just how not outlandish it is what she's saying. Because, dude, US government filings back her up. A lot of other leaders and I went as far as presidents and stuff. But like in Bolivia, it's a top-down problem. Argentina, Brazil, everywhere. There's a lot of other high-ranking government officials that are being implicated, and that's an internal issue for those countries. So I didn't focus on it too much because my focus is always on like U.S. imperialism type stuff and how it connects to
mhm.
what we can do, what we can call out.
Sure.
But yeah, there's going to be the fallout is just starting. Rodrigo Paz tried to distance himself. Bukele has not. Malay basically been talking trash about him for a year. Um, and other leaders like Bolsonaro, like Jair Bolsonaro, his son Flavio Bolsonaro, neither one has distanced themselves from him. I mean, he's in jail for attempted murder. And when they raided his house, they found a bot farm and $500,000 in cash in multiple currencies, US, euros, Bolivian dollars. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it's deep, man. Like they got him on money laundering. They got him on something about I can't remember the actual term, illicit, like basically gaining wealth in a
Oh
very
yeah,
unethical
yeah.
or illegal way, and then for attempted
Well, you,
femicide.
I think they call that Trumpism,
Yeah, right.
right?
Yeah, right, right.
Is that what
The
they
the fact
call
that
it?
he had so much like U.S. currency and
You remember
euros
that was the deal that
um,
happened with
is crazy.
Bob Menendez. Remember when they went in his house and he had like
Yeah,
gold bars and all kind of crazy. I mean, that's
yeah,
kind of a giveaway.
yeah. And Henry
Man.
Cuellar got busted taking bribes too, and Trump pardoned him before he could see justice. So
Hmm.
he's actually leading in the polls here in Texas in his district, which is kind of a shame, but
Is he still a Democrat?
he sure is. But he votes with Republicans a whole lot. He's anti-abortion, pro-ICE.
Dude, I know.
It's ridiculous, but,
Our shit is so
yeah, that
sketchy, man. Why?
and what's
Why?
crazy is
What good is he to the Democratic Party?
right,
Honestly,
right. Hey,
it's just
he's our Latino John Fetterman. That's what I call him, Latino John Fetterman.
wow. Ouch.
so
Ouch.
so yeah, the thing about this to tie it back to Venezuela where we started is Mauricio Claver Caron. Mauricio Claver Caron is a major player in my story, part of this whole thing, connecting a lot of these people. He is now the special envoy for Latin America who's overseeing the exploitation of Venezuela. So this oil deal that you just talked about, that's him.
Right.
The $13 billion of oil revenue that's unaccounted for, that's him. That's he's part of that too. And it's like I've been trying to tell people that white nationalism domestically is the same thing that drives the white nationalism in our foreign policy, and people fail to make that connection. But dude, it's right in front of our
Dude, speaking
faces.
of, and I'm gonna try to find this real quick. This just happened. Uh, it seems like they save a lot of this news for like, 30 minutes before I have to do a live stream and I don't have time. But um, I don't know. I think it's a plot. But I heard on the radio this afternoon that who's the guy that's running against John Ossoff down in Georgia? Whoever that
Ooh,
guy is,
can't say
one
yeah.
of one of his staffers, man, I don't know why these people take. I guess they just think. I don't even know. There's a picture of this guy, and he's got him playing robes and stuff.
Oh, I
One
saw
of his
that.
staffers,
I
and it's
saw
like, why
that.
would you take a photograph of yourself in a Klan outfit? I mean, who you gonna show
Yeah.
that to?
You know what's funny is I
It's
quote
just
tweeted that
crazy.
because I saw the picture on Twitter and I said, "This is who centrist Democrats want us to work with." And
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
problem though, wait a
"No,
minute. The problem is the
no thanks."
DSA, man.
Of
I
course,
just
no, it's
don't.
Hassan
I
Piker. It's Piker. Piker's the
Yeah,
problem. A Twitch streamer. He's the
that
bad
is the
guy.
man. I keep hearing people ask about this guy, and I'm not saying he hasn't ever said anything that is questionable. I just don't even know why he is part of the conversation. I saw El Sayed on, and I felt sorry for him. He was on that, that dumb boy that's on Fox News that I I can't understand why he has a job either. Um, oh,
Um,
the young guy that just says silly shit. He just I don't even know.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And he was trying to talk to this guy, and the guy was determined not to talk about anything of substance. And
Right.
I'm sure
Jesse
somebody in the
something,
chat,
right?
Jesse Waters, that's his name, Jesse
That's who it
Waters.
was. Yeah.
Oh my God, man. I felt like I had lost maybe like 10% of my freaking IQ just listening to this guy. He's so
Yeah.
ignorant.
I can't do it.
And,
I
they were
can't do it.
talking, the guy was trying to talk about, the normal stuff, healthcare for all. And he's like, well, what do you think about men playing women's sports? Just silliness. And it's yelling at he's like a frat boy, just throwing bombs and all. And I was watching. This was just I don't know, a 5 or 10 minute clip, and I just had to stop because it was just again I don't understand why people like this have jobs. I mean, you got to figure
Listen, I
what do you
rate,
think a
listen.
guy like that gets paid? What, $1 million at least
Oh,
in New
dude. Yeah,
York? I
he's
mean, a
six
million bucks.
figures, if not seven. Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah, look, look, man, I raised a trans kid, and one thing I can tell you is trans kids suck at sports. Okay? Plain as I mean, they suck at sports. That's all there is to it.
Here's
Most
the
of them
here's
don't
the
even do
thing, man,
sports. So,
that always got me about, there's that one girl who she's sort of like the poster person for this whole, anti-trans thing. She was like a swimmer. The first time I even knew there was a problem or a thing, I was at like a block party a couple of years ago, and this old Italian guy that used to live across the street. Now here he is, first generation. You would think he'd kind of be clued in to like how America can be when you're not born and raised here. He comes up to me, what do you think about these women or these men in women's sports? I didn't even know what he was talking about. He's like,
yeah.
the swimming against, dude, even if the trans person hadn't been in the race, this girl still would have lost. She came in fifth.
Yeah. Tied fifth. Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
So
Even if
here's another one. Here's another one in Texas, right? This is how ignorant this conservative freak out about trans kids in sports or whatever it is. So there's a trans boy, right? From girl to boy,
hmm
and he's wrestling, in the boys' league, whatever. Well, you're only allowed to play sports by the gender you were assigned at birth, right? So now the boy can't wrestle with the other boys. He has to go wrestle with the girls.
But
The
this is
boy's
a
taking testosterone, man. The boy's taking testosterone. What do you think happened when you put a boy in
oh
a
my
girls' wrestling
God,
league?
please
He was
stop.
the state championship wrestler, state champ wrestler in girls.
No
And like
way.
you look at the picture, and for all intents and purposes, that's a teenage dude, man. Like, why is he wrestling with girls? You know, and
I
that's how
have said this,
stupid Republicans are about this.
man, I have said this before. It's like they get on something and they're like the dog that, is chasing a car and doesn't know, he's
What to
not
do
able to think
when you
ahead
catch
of
it?
if I catch the car, then what? Right? And so
Yeah,
these guys come up with these. I'm gonna tell you, some of these restrictive voting policies, I really believe are going to just backfire. Because one
yeah,
thing I know about Americans, tell us we can't do something. Try to stop us
right,
from doing some shit and see what happens. And I just feel like
right,
that, because some of this stuff that's going on, oh, like with the post office, I don't even think they could implement it, even if they win the case. It's too much tech that's
right,
gotta happen.
right.
But I, man, that story is kind of kind of bonkers. So I just want to
It
make sure
is
I got this right. This is a guy who was transitioning. Oh, well, no, the other way
from
around, right?
girl, from girl,
A,
from
a
girl to boy.
person transitioning, right? So they would be taking testosterone. So they're on steroids essentially, and
Basically,
they
yeah,
made that person go back and
and wrestle
wrestle
girls
girls.
because
You
of the
know,
gender assigned
dude,
at birth.
those parents
More,
got to be
dude,
mad.
dude. So here's the thing about the vote by mail in Texas recently. It was on
Hmm.
our news, I think last night, might have been this morning.
Okay.
People receiving their documentation to request
Yeah.
a mail-in ballot. Um, there's only 4 slots to put in your driver's license number.
But wait,
Since when has a driver's license number only had 4 numbers?
what do you put the last four? Is that what they're doing?
No, you're supposed to put the whole thing. So
What?
what
But
happened was the reason why this made the news was a lady squeezed her number in there, basically ignoring the lines in the 4 boxes, sent it back, and they rejected it. So she started calling, asking questions about it. She didn't get no answers, so she called the news. The news started calling,
because
asking questions about
I
it.
mean, because
They're like,
look,
"Oh, we're gonna send out."
who controls the Department of Motor Vehicles? The state. I mean, they got to know. I mean, what is it? Six or seven numbers normally,
Yeah, I think it's
and
7
sometimes it's even
here.
longer than that. I mean, year, because a lot of times it
Yeah, it's
starts
8.
out with a bunch of zeros, and so then,
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, it was crazy. And you know who controls that? Ken Paxton or no,
mm-hmm.
Dan Patrick. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And then just to touch on another thing, the refusal to extradite the ICE agent to Minnesota.
I saw
Have you
that,
seen
man.
this?
What the crap? What's the
Right.
basis?
Uh, Greg Abbott has no real logic behind it. I think my thinking is that he thinks this is going to help boost his numbers in the polls because while he has $67 million to spend and Gina Hinojosa only has $3 million to spend, she's up his butt on them polls, man. He is
Man,
having fits.
I was talking to somebody about this a few days ago, and I think, you keep hearing this story on the news, the Democratic Party, that, we don't have any money, and Republicans have outraised and blah, 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 blah. What people are doing is they have had, and I'm going to put myself in that category, they have had their fill of constantly being asked to give money to the DSCC, or I'm getting stuff from the DSCC, and I actually posted something a couple of maybe a week ago, where I got um, like a text message or something from the DSCC, and oh, here it is, and I just was so offended by this. This was about a week and a half ago. Look at this. These five
Oh yeah.
Democrats need. So wait. It was after the Florida election. So I guess, nobody in Michigan needs any money. Nobody in Florida
Right. I'll
needs
say
any
it.
money,
Right.
right?
Nixon. Right.
And this is not me saying I'm against any of these people, but what
No,
kind
but
of,
it's a very white little thing there.
well, it's very intentional to me.
Exactly.
It just looked, and it's like, I'm not giving y'all shit. Take me
Right.
off your list because it's got to be driven home with these guys that it's a
Yeah.
new day. It is no longer, we're going to get a bunch of money and then, oh, yeah, we'll just do whatever the fuck we want to do. No. And I'm
Yeah.
convinced that this is, you know what? This is almost like the reception that the United States got in Iran. We're throwing all these multi-million dollar bombs and, all this shit. These guys are hitting us up with $50,000 drones. I heard yesterday that our bases in the Middle East may be unusable even after this
Right.
war is over because these
Right.
these countries that got hit are like, you know what, America, y'all too much trouble. I don't think we want you to have a base
Dude,
here now.
Iran did more to decolonize the Middle East in just a few months than
I
Mandela
know,
did in
man.
South Africa
And
for
y'all look,
years, man. I mean, come
I
on.
am I
I
am
mean,
just
Jesus.
looking at it and calling it like I see it. I love my country. I ain't never been to Iran. I am just looking at it and it's like, boy, did we fuck up. I mean, honestly, look what this guy has done.
Mm,
We have fucked around and got Canada mad at us. How the hell do you get Canada mad at you? And not for nothing, guy that's there, he's not a dumb guy. This guy used to be, well, he's a finance guy. He used to work at Bloomberg, and he's dealing with Howard Lutnick
more
wasn't even in this guy's league.
right,
So I don't know what we have. These guys are literally getting high on their own supply. They think they're so smart, and they run up into Canada, going to tell these people stop speaking French.
right,
That is just lunacy.
right. And like, oh, I just signed an executive order to rename Lake Ontario. Have fun with that, bro. Because it's
Yeah,
still a
like
Gulf
we
of
all just gonna
Mexico.
start
It's
saying Lake
still
America like a
right,
bunch of fools. I
right.
mean, now
No,
there are some stupid people that, and they've pretty much got all of the stupid vote. But man, I'm telling you, the sad thing is, this is gonna stick on us so much, so way, way, way beyond Trump, because
yeah,
everybody sees now, and after he was president the first time, we had a chance to just say, hey, we messed up, but we got it now. And what do? We put this fool in office two times. And let me tell you something, man. Look at this. So I dropped a piece yesterday.
yeah. I was going to tell you to bring that up. The
Look at
oil
this.
stuff. Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
this. This is all basically Trump. I mean, the Russia part of it isn't directly America, except to the extent that we haven't done anything. Oh, now,
To stop it.
we sent
Right.
our CEA or CIA guy over there, yesterday, I guess, to tell Putin he's losing. you know, and I mean, it's funny. Putin should send somebody over here to tell Trump he's losing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyone, look at what we're talking about. Venezuela got problems there. Um, Libya, we don't even talk about Libya, dude. Got
Hmm.
protests, drone attacks, all kind of crazy shit. But the problem in Russia, and the piece, I'll drop a link. It's sort of my theory on this is, and it's not like I got some secret information. It's just that I watch a lot of this stuff. This is not about oil anymore. It's what's now been disrupt. It's one thing when you disrupt how much oil can get out of the Middle East or whatever, but what has started happening now is Ukraine is kicking the shit out of Russia, and what they're doing is they are bombing their, oh shit. Bloomberg just announced that Venezuela is now all of a sudden thinking about leaving OPEC. Okay, we're cutting a deal with Venezuela, and on the same day, Venezuela's thinking they want out of OPEC. It's
Yeah,
probably just a coincidence, but you know,
yeah. No, it's not.
probably
You
probably
know,
probably nothing to it. You know,
yeah, I mean,
man, man, man.
I get that, Rodriguez in Venezuela has to do certain things, to try to appease the US to avoid all out war, blah, blah, blah. But she's selling the country out, man. She's giving
Oh,
it away.
clearly, there's
And
no question.
that's not gonna sit well with Venezuelans. The minute she tries to sign off on giving the US rights to Venezuela's oil reserves, there's gonna be a shitstorm, dude. Like a lot of people seem to forget that in the mountains there are a lot of armed Venezuelans, right? All the rural types, farmer types, all them. And we heard all this time about Chavistas on motorcycles threatening people, blah, blah, blah. At some point, I have to think that these people are organizing. I have to think that at some point, there's going to be hell to pay. It's Venezuela. It's a rebellious country, a revolutionary country. It's only a matter of time before the civilians organize. And I guarantee you, the military is not going to take sides with the United States. The Venezuelan military is not. So,
They got to live
you know,
there.
I think right. I think Latin America is already heavily being destabilized over the last 2 years, and I think even once by the time Trump leaves office, it's going to be so bad. It's probably going to take a decade to get back to where we were before Trump started all this. Um, I don't. I just don't see 700 million people in Latin America just shrugging their shoulder. Oh well, we got to accept it. It's just not going to happen. A lot of there's still a lot of countries in Latin America that are like 80% indigenous, 90% indigenous. Like they don't want white men telling them what to do. Honduras, Bolivia. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and good luck with Nicaragua. Like people in Nicaragua despise us. They say everything about a dictator in Nicaragua, but talk to people in Nicaragua, they'll tell you a different story. Just like you talk to people in Cuba, they'll tell you a whole different story about dictators, and it ain't got nothing to do with the people in power there. So yeah, I don't know. I wait to wake up one day and see some shit popped off in Venezuela, and I feel like it's inevitable. It's inevitable that, especially the minute you start giving away the oil, or you start trying to take away Black Venezuelans and indigenous Venezuelans' rights, which are in the Constitution, which the United States wants to get rid of. I think there's going to be hell to pay, man. I just don't think people are going to give up their rights so easily and bow to the U.S. Like it's been 20 years for them to build the Venezuela that they have. Um, an equal society uh, with equality and all these things. I just don't see. I don't know. It's hard to imagine that 30 million Venezuelans are just going to sit down and let this happen. It's
Dude,
really hard to
I can't
imagine.
see it. I really cannot. I mean, but
Me either.
it's like you said though, it's going to take a decade just to fix, and that's just one area.
Right.
What I think about is I don't really know an ally that we haven't like tried to piss off or fuck over in some way. And
Right.
like I said, the first time's a mistake, but then when you elect the guy again, and I
It's
mean,
intentional.
let's
Yeah.
face it, dude, he was a felon. I don't know why that's not every day. We should be talking about that every day. This guy's a felon, an adjudicated sexual assaulter or whatever you want to sugarcoat it. He's an abuser of women. Who are these women who are voting for this? I just, I'm just mystified by this, y'all. I'm telling you.
There are a lot of people that genuinely believe that the Justice Department is somehow targeting Donald Trump with the Epstein files and that there's this big conspiracy to make him look like this bad guy that he isn't. And I'm like, man, I grew up with that dude on the news living in Jersey. And there's a reason everybody up there hates that guy. He's, as Chuck D would say back in the day, he's corrupt like a senator, so I just yeah, it blows me away that people are just like, I'm like, every time I say he's in the Epstein files more than Jesus is in the Bible, people get mad
Ooh.
as hell.
Mm.
It's
Well,
funny, but I mean,
it's funny, but it's true.
it
It's
is,
funny,
right.
but it's
It's funny
true,
watching
man.
them
I
get
mean,
mad. Yeah, it's true, right?
leave the Bible out
Yeah,
of it. No, it's the truth,
yeah.
though, man.
Like,
Um,
it gets me because for the longest time they accused Joe Biden of being a pedophile because he supposedly sniffed some
oh,
girl's
I
hair.
know. He smelled the girl's
Trump
hair.
is
That's
in the Epstein files like 6,000 times. Like he is in proximity to pedophiles, way more proximity than Joe Biden. And somehow he's innocent and Joe Biden, who sniffed some hair, is guilty. What the hell? What kind of logic is that? And it's just, I was talking to my stepdad last night, and one of the things we talked about was how Castro stayed in power. My stepdad's Jamaican, right? Neighbors to
oh,
Cuba. He
okay,
grew up
okay,
there,
right. I
right?
knew that.
So, and like we were talking about all this stuff, and just a lot of people would just accept a dictator in this country. And like we see those comparisons where like he's like, we've seen in Jamaica, he said we've seen authoritarian types try to take over and people
Hmm.
bow to him like it's a cult. He's like, with like, so one of the things we talked about with Trump was like these assassination attempts, right? They makes a big deal about him every time. Look, they're coming after me. I tell my stepdad, I was like, that's kind of how Castro was able to stay in power, because not only was he able to say, look, they tried to kill me 600 and something times. The United States admitted they tried to kill him 600 and something times. So he's like, see, I told you. You know what I mean?
Man,
So like how do you not believe the guy when he's like, I told you, And
let me
I
ask you a
see that we
question.
see that here. We see that here.
Do you own any rifles or like, whatever AR-15 type stuff?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
couple.
So you've shot one. I have never shot
Yeah,
one. I've shot a gun before. I've shot a shotgun before. I am just unable to like accept that a person shot at Trump with some kind of an AR-15 rifle. So how big are those bullets? They're about this big, aren't they? They're
yeah,
pretty
it
good
depends.
size.
If you're using a 5.56, then yeah, it's a pretty big one. If you're using a 2.23, it's a 22 type bullet, kind of a small one.
And one of these
Not very
bullets
accurate.
hit him in his ear.
Yeah.
And he walking
I,
around every time I see that guy, I look at that fucking ear and I'm like, no, nothing, no, no. It does not make any sense. And it is a suspension of fucking disbelief to try to make me think that a semi-automatic weapon was shot at this guy, killed another guy, and nicked his ear, and yet what did he have? Plastic surgery? He got a new ear? I mean, what? There's no scar, there's not even like a notch out of his ear.
right.
There should be. Dude, one of those things hit, if something like that hits you even a little bit, you're gonna be messed up.
Yeah.
So that is as close to a conspiracy type theory or anything but I'm just talking like basic science. You can't
Right.
get you can't get wounded in your ear. So I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but I'm
One
just
of the
saying.
things we talked about how Obama, there was like something like 18 assassination attempts on Obama. You never
Mhm,
heard about a single one because there's no point in freaking the public out about attempted assassination attempts that didn't come to fruition. And that was the
mhm.
logic before Trump. Now with Trump, every time the littlest thing happens, like my stepdad pointed out about the one guy who never even got close to Trump, never even got on the Trump golf course or whatever,
Oh, the
they're
guy that
charging him
was
with an
like
attempted,
hiding or something, and he's in
yeah, they're
prison the
trying to
rest of
charge
his
him with an
freaking life.
attempt, yeah, attempted assassination. Like he didn't even get that close. Now, the guy running into the correspondence dinner, that's a different
Oh
story.
yeah, that's
Another
that's
guy
a whole
showing up at
different story.
Mar-a-Lago, with guns, that's a different story. But the guy out in the they caught him before he did anything. What do you actually I think that dude might be able to walk or at least get a lesser charge because that seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course they're going to make a big deal about it and that's part of this whole, cult-like behavior with Trump where people will ignore the worst things about him and not with these assassination attempts they can say, "See, he's just being targeted." And there you have it, for Castro, for example, he was legitimately being targeted, right, by the CIA. They made, a public spectacle of it. But for Trump, it's every little thing, man. Every stub his toe on the couch. They're out to get, you know what I mean? Like I don't even know anymore. It's just I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
to think. I know,
crazy.
when I'm in East Texas, I throw some things around a little bit, but I'm also aware of my surroundings, so like I don't say things,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard some dudes, we were at a place in Kilgore, Texas, and I heard some guys at a table next to us and they were talking. One guy was in fertilizer, another guy manufactured some stuff, half his parts come from Japan. And the guy who does the manufacturing was asking the fertilizer guy, how's the fertilizer business going?
What
And he was talking
fertilizer
about how
business?
since right. And he said that because of all the stuff that comes out of the Middle East and how expensive it got, that farmers in East Texas just skipped on the fertilizer this year, which means
Wow.
smaller yields,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
means we're paying more for basic stuff like corn. Like we have so much corn in Texas that a lot of times when it's harvest season, you get them like 6 or 8 for $1
Mm-hmm.
ears of corn. You're lucky to get them 3 for $1, if not $1 each right now. And that's because the yields are so low. Cattle ranchers, same thing, low yields all over the place. And this other guy who does the manufacturing was talking about how the tariffs are kicking his ass. And at no point did they mention Trump's name. And I wanted to look over so bad and be like, do y'all blame Trump for this? But I was in a packed burger joint, man, in
Yeah.
Kilgore, Texas. No, don't say anything. That's not the place. That's not the
Yeah.
place. You're going to be outnumbered. Not that I feared like somebody was going to hurt me or something, but have a lot of people screaming at you at one time, and I'm not down for that. I just want to eat my lunch and get out of here. You know what I mean?
I
So,
hear you,
so
man.
yeah, I mean, dude, I love it in East Texas. It's a beautiful country, a lot of great people, but there's a lot of really misguided and I hate to say delusional. Some of them are just straight up delusional about Trump. But yeah,
So
it's
we're
it's
coming
nuts.
close on time, but I've just been kind of looking in the chat room, and actually the Substack chat room, y'all. Yeah, I appreciate folks showing up and just being lively, and chatting with each other. And I try. So I just wanted to mention this because I didn't
Yeah,
catch
somebody
who
mentioned that.
mentioned it. This is really interesting to me, and I don't know enough about it. Um, but do you think, I don't know who is the woman that Angie Nixon is running against? Because it was somebody I've never, well, she was appointed, I guess, to fill the seat
Yeah,
that Marco Rubio left
Rubio,
behind,
right?
whoever she is. So this is again crazy media, corporate media. Everybody has been focused on Angie Nixon and asking her stupid questions and all of this stuff. And the way I see it, Angie Nixon, I mean, she's an elected official. She's been in Florida politics for a minute. And
Right,
then
right.
her opponent as far as I know, she hasn't won a statewide election ever. So I don't know why we would assume that she would be so much better or more likely to win than Angie Nixon. I get that it's Florida and all that, but I just think the climate people are underestimating how pissed off people are. My wife came
Yeah,
home today. Dude, I'm going to tell you, we love Rayo's pasta sauce. I'm actually working on a story. Rayo's is it's a very, very difficult restaurant to get into in New York. It's in like Italian Harlem, and it's got like a storied history and all that. Years and years ago, they sold off, the food business, and so you can buy Rayo's pizza, you can buy all this whole lineup of stuff. just the regular bottle of that pasta sauce or a jar of that pasta sauce, it's forever been like $5 or $6. Now it's almost
Yeah.
$10.
Yeah.
And my wife came home today and she said, "Man, I'm gonna have to go to Food Lion to get rails because at Walmart they've raised it over $1." I mean, it's
Wow.
anecdotal, but I'm just saying that when you got something that's $6 and you raise it $1, that's pretty substantial. So anyway, I'm
Yeah.
just looking. There is some
Well,
connection that the woman running for Senate has in Florida. Is this it where there was some money that was supposed to go to health care and she moved it or she voted for it to be there's some connection and somebody in the chat might know about it, but and
yeah,
I'll
I
try to
mean,
do some homework on
there's a couple of things I've been noticing in Florida, and I pay attention to Florida. I have a lot of family there and stuff, especially,
it.
South Florida. But, for since Trump took office, particularly the Cuban American lawmakers in Florida have not
Hmm.
said much about ICE
Hmm.
disappearing Cubans. And what's crazy is there are some Cuban American Democrats running. And to me, when it comes to Cuban policy, they're pretty much all the same, right? Angie Nixon, same thing. She's in South Florida. She has to appease to those voters. Fine.
Okay.
They're sort of have a hardline stance on that. But these other Cuban Americans that are running on a "we're all immigrants" platform, as in, the guys you see being taken by ICE are, in California are no different than the people being taken by ICE here in Miami. Um, and the whole platform is, I mean, they're confronting the ICE issue, the immigration issue, the lifting of TPS, and all these different protections.
Okay.
Now, Republicans in Florida, Maria Vida Salazar, Diaz Balart, a couple others, Carlos Jimenez, now they want to start talking about protecting Cuban immigrants a month or two before the election. And like they are way behind. And I look, and this again, like you said, anecdotal. I'm looking at the comment sections on their posts on X, on Facebook, everywhere. And dude, they're all in Spanish. And Cubans are like, fuck you, I'm voting for a Democrat. Like we ain't doing
Wow.
this fascist shit. Like you're allowing Trump to take our families away. You're breaking our families up. Right now, Florida is one of the most expensive places to live. South Florida is unlivable. And Maria Vida
Can you
Salazar
even
is like,
get insurance
"Wait,
on your home there?
no, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard. It's becoming hard here in Texas too." Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
So
she's running on this thing where she's going to look for subsidies to help people in South Florida, weather the economic, the expensive life that they take. And I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds awful socialist of you. Like you want to subsidize people to live in Florida? Like, come on, man. Like
wow.
it's crazy. It's
Dude,
crazy.
I'm
It's
convinced
crazy.
they don't
And
really know what socialism is. They just think it's a bad word,
no,
and they don't know what it
and
is.
that's the thing
So,
with a lot of
so Ashley
Q,
Moody is the woman who's running
yeah, Ashley
against,
Moody,
and
right?
she, sure enough, I'm looking at Newsweek here, which I try not to do too often, but yeah, I mean that. Well, no, Newsweek has got
They don't
man.
fact
There's a
check
story
anything.
behind it. Well, it's private equity.
Yeah.
Somebody bought Newsweek some years ago, and they have a right wing kind of bent. So you really got to watch what you get from Newsweek. But
Yeah, it's
this
very
particular,
pro-business bent, yeah.
yeah, but they're just talking about this $10 million settlement money that was between the state of Florida and a vendor for Medicaid. And the money was sent to something called the Hope Florida Foundation. And this grand jury, I guess it was a couple of days ago, found out that whatever the whole situation was, the money was, quote, misappropriated. And I don't know exactly what Ashley Moody's connection was to this, but it appears it's going to be a problem for her,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I think,
because
Republicans in Florida are facing a lot of problems with their voters, and ignoring them has been the issue. I think, Greg Abbott, letting this criminal out on the street, like Ken Paxton let that pedophile out on the street. This
Hmm.
is not going to bode well for Republicans here. Like, they're supposed to be the party of law and order, and you're letting criminals roam our streets. Yeah, it's kind of
Man,
very
and
hypocritical.
Republicans will ride that to death. I'm in North Carolina, and I don't even subscribe to cable anything. I just stream stuff.
Yeah,
I can't even tell you how many times I have seen this commercial about Roy Cooper letting folks out of jail, and they don't get real specific, but um, and then they're saying he's been, it is almost like they're trying to make him responsible for this shit when he was like, he's like in Congress or something.
yeah.
So yeah, they will ride the law and order card to death, and Democrats just need to get with it. So look, man, it's a little bit after 7. I am going to try and end on some good news because, and I'll post the link to this article, but this is great. Federal
Oh
judge
yeah,
shuts down
yeah, yeah,
Texas
yeah.
drag ban. If you
Don't
don't
like it,
like
don't go.
drag, just don't go. And apparently,
Exactly.
he look in the subheading, the judge said that even Dolly Parton's performance may be banned by the
Right.
anti-drag law because she had big hair and flamboyant clothes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, people are tired of this stuff. All of
Look,
this
there's a reason
silliness.
drag queens love Dolly Parton, and that's because of,
Yeah.
the show, the over sensationalized,
Well,
that
she was
whole
just gaudy and, just
right. And drag queens love Dolly, man. I mean, come on. So yeah,
what's so
I was
funny?
I was thrilled to hear that. I was thrilled to hear about this a couple days
Just
ago.
just don't go. It's so crazy. I mean, all of it to
Right.
me is just, it's a solution looking for a fucking problem. I just don't even
Exactly.
understand it because I don't know. I've been to drag shows. Dude, one of the most fun places when I was living in Little Rock, the most popular club, this is Little Rock, Arkansas in the 90s, right? The most popular club in Little Rock was a gay club called Discovery, and it was in a big
Nah,
fucking warehouse, and it was great. And one part of it, they would have, like every Friday, like a big pageant, and I never really go to the drag show part of it, but you couldn't be in that place and not know what was going on. Nobody ever fucked with me. I mean, it's like,
right.
what's the fear? These people just having fun, and the music
Yeah.
was great, and you could dance and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So,
Right.
I mean, it
I
was
remember.
the best club in town.
Right. In like my late teens, early 20s, I worked somewhere in there. I worked security at the door with a friend of mine, Robert Green. He's a big old dude. He needed somebody to work the door with him for a couple of weeks. And I was like, sure, I'll come with you. And it was this place called Cuties, QTS,
Okay,
Cuties.
got it,
And
got it.
in Montrose here in Houston. And man, the 2 weeks I was there, I watched several drag queens beat the brakes off of some
Dude,
like
don't
big
mess with them
dudes. And
people.
I'm like,
No.
do you realize that that's just a guy in a costume? And like,
Don't let
it's
the
funny
wigs
because
fool you.
what gets me is they have the drag voice, but then you start harassing them, and all of a sudden, man voice
Then that
comes out.
shit
I'm
comes
like,
down.
oh, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this, and
So
it's
instead
fun
of
to watch.
a
That's
fashion
it,
show, it's
dude.
like a drag queen boxing match. No,
Yeah,
dude,
because
it's
dudes get
crazy.
flattened easy. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
And
something
we
else.
broke it up. We broke it up on the sidewalk and stuff, but we let it go for a second, and then we break it up. Because it's fun to watch. And drag queens deserve to get their justice, so we let it
Well,
slide a little bit.
folks need to leave those. That's the thing, man. I just remember there used to be a day where you just let people alone. You know,
Right,
just leave people alone
right.
and let them live their life.
Just that's it. That's it. Just leave
I ain't
people
worried
alone. Why is
about a
that so hard?
drag queen, like I don't know, catch and drag, or I don't know what the problem is supposed to be, but it typically
Yeah,
my theory is the only people this bothers is dudes that are like
Attracted.
well well
Yeah.
what homegirl, it was like the DHS woman in South Dakota, and lo and behold, her husband's running around in women's clothes all over the internet.
Oh
And
yeah.
again, I ain't
Yeah.
mad at him. Do your thing, bro.
I
Just fly
didn't
your
do whatever.
flag, but do not be coming out here trying to tell other people how to live, and your husband's running around in a girdle. I mean, come on.
Yeah. There's
Come
this
on.
boomerang effect.
It's
It's
like,
called karma.
what? It's almost like everything that they're like, like vehemently against is shit behind closed doors that they're doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of it.
It's
So
just
yeah. Anyway, I
blows
would
me
just,
away.
I'll let you, talk about whatever you got going, but there's something that a subscriber a couple of days ago said, you should do something about private equity. And I had kind of been thinking about it. So it's going to be after Labor Day. I haven't really even planned it out, but just FYI, I'm going to do sort of, just sort of soup to nuts on private equity and look at some deals, talk about it a little bit, and maybe, I mean, it's more of an educational thing, but I think there's so much going on, and what I really find interesting about it is, you've seen like um, Claire's and some of the, women's clothing stores. I think the Dress Barn, just really terrible where, private equity gets in there and the next thing you know, business is going bankrupt. But now this has started to spill over into major sports in the NBA. So you saw what's going on with the Lakers, where just
Yep.
Jared Kushner's brother and the ex CEO of Disney got together, and
Hmm.
and then the San Diego Padres, which, by the way, first black owner of a major league baseball team. I mean, it's through her husband's private equity business, but this is sort of a separate deal. So anyway, I'm going to talk about all that stuff. And here's the thing, it's going to be a subscriber only event, not pay. You don't have to be a paid subscriber, but you got to be a subscriber. And so do yourself a favor. If you're interested in private equity, go ahead and subscribe now. And, more to come after Labor Day, but I'm definitely going to do it. So anyway, with that,
Yeah.
I'll let you sign us out.
For me, I wrapped up this investigative piece today, which is a little bit of a breather for me. So I might take it easy tomorrow and maybe the weekend. But hey, yesterday, I pitched my book to Haymarket. Hopefully
Hey,
it could be months before I hear back, but
congrats.
um, it's yeah, thanks. Blue Privilege, it's based on a lot of the essays I've wrote about police brutality, and it's focused on how the system protects cops, and of course, given the nature of the way things have evolved in the last couple of years, the last few chapters touch on ICE and federal agencies and things like that, because we're seeing the same things in them that
Hmm.
we normally see in the police. But um, I think maybe this weekend or next weekend, I'm going to start putting out chapters for my paid subscribers on Saturdays, just to give people a preview, give people an idea, get some reader insight, beta readers essentially,
Yeah,
just to kind of get some feedback. I've been working on it for like 3 years, and
don't
I
feel
wanted
bad,
it to be
man.
a much bigger book, but man,
I
I got
just think
burned.
that's
I
how
got
long it
exhausted.
takes.
I got
I am
exhausted, man.
I'm actually the last couple of weeks, and one of the reasons I haven't been quite as active on notes as I normally am is I'm trying to get my book proposal done for a book I have been working on since uh, 2021.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
doing that and doing this and writing essays, and you know, every once in a
That's the
while I
thing,
talk to
right?
my wife and we go to the beach and stuff. And I'm probably going to take Labor Day week and just no shows, just kind of
Chill.
let my
Yeah,
head breathe a little bit. But anyway, I think that's all we got. We've covered a whole lot of
yeah,
ground today.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
we
just
did, we did.
really, I'm almost like I'm going to call a therapist, man. This stuff is crazy. But no, seriously. Um, every Thursday, folks, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. A show with no
Same bat
name,
time,
same
same
bat
bat time,
channel.
same bat channel.
We're dating ourselves, man. And our
Oh,
audience isn't going to
damn
know
it.
what we're talking about. Anyway, folks, I
Some
hope
of
you
them
enjoyed
will.
the show. And, again, we appreciate you. And, if you can support us, at the very least, subscribe. It costs nothing, and all
Yeah.
of our work is free. And we will see you next week. Take care.